Coach, Knicks probably has confidence right now. What can you do as a group to challenge that confidence?
Play better. I think it's that simple. I still don't feel like we've played our best game yet, but we've got an opportunity tomorrow, and I expect our guys to rise to the occasion.
With that in mind, what do you think Game 5 is going to come down to?
Us being the best version of ourselves. I think it's that simple. As frustrating as it's been, and for whatever the reasons have been, I think we put together one good game so far, and that was in Game 2. So we've got to be better. Coaches got to be better. Players have to be better. And we got to go out and put it on the line.
And Donovan put a lot on himself after last game. What have those conversations been like with him?
It's not, and I respect the fact that he owns up and takes responsibility, but it's not on just Donovan. We've been a team all year. It's never been about one person. Everybody's had their role on the team. Everybody's had to play to their strength, and we've always been about the team. So the blame should never fall on one person.
In what area do you need to be most better?
As a whole,
Yeah.
obviously making shots helps. We talk about the defensive end of the floor and the different assignments that we've carried out. But when you go back and look at it, it hasn't been bad overall. We looked at it, and it's fourth overall of the teams that are left in the playoffs. Obviously we can be better at finishing possessions, and limiting the amount of shot attempts that they get, but offensively just taking care of the ball. And again, those are things I think we're in control of.
When you're prepping for Game 5, do you look at the film from Game 4, or do you look at the film from Game 2, because I guess, like you said, the game that you guys put together?
We watched it all. We obviously, as coaches, we've had a lot of time together. So we've watched every game, again, to see where we could be better, what has worked for us, and then again we go implement it and hope we can be better at it tomorrow.
How do you explain the disparity in rebounding, especially in that Game 4? What can you do to?
We got to be more physical, and we got to be more active. I think it's that simple. In Game 2, we won the rebound battle and we won the game. And in Game 2, we were as aggressive as I've seen our group be, and it wasn't just one guy. Everybody on the floor was physical and making contact, and that's what we got to do. You got one game to play, and you got to leave it out there.
How do you assess Evan Mobley through 4 games this series?
I think he's gotten better every game. I think he has a better understanding of what playoff basketball is. I think going through it, understanding, what the different atmospheres are going to be, the level of intensity, playing at home versus playing on the road. But I think as he's gone on, he's continued to get better.
You and the guys have talked about learning lessons throughout the course of the playoffs. Like, if there's something that you want him to learn through the first 4 games and take into Game 5, what is it specifically?
Being aggressive. When he catches that ball, being attack-minded and making the play that the defense tells you to make. But every time you catch it, the first thing you got to do is look at the rim. You look at the rim, and then you make the decision on what's next based on where the defense is. So we just want him to continue to be aggressive and continue to make the right play.
JB, I know this weekend you talked about, in the playoffs, guys have to learn from mistakes quickly and you learn when it hurts. I guess, what's most important for that learning to happen in, a very short turnaround between these games?
Yeah, it's the ability to apply. You don't have a month or 6 weeks to figure these things out. You have to take the lesson you learned and you have to apply it in 2 days. And that's not always easy, but it's what has to happen. And again, our guys have been pretty resilient through the year and have always kind of figured out a way. And I expect us to do that again tomorrow.
I know you said it's not all on Donovan, obviously, it's a team, but when you look at his performance the other day, how much of it is what the Knicks are throwing at him? How much of it is just maybe an uncharacteristic shooting game for him?
Yeah, you go back, and again, like we always do, you go and watch it. And I thought he got his shots for the most part. He took shots that he's been taking all year that had been going. He had a couple of them, that kind of rimmed in and out on him, especially late in the game. those are shots that he works on. Those are shots that we've seen him make. So he's just got to continue to shoot them, and they'll go for him.
Different about the Toppin. What was different about the lineups they used at the end of the last game when Toppin for Randall?
It's just, they obviously sat Randall. Their coverages changed. With Toppin, they were more aggressive and more shows on pick and rolls. He plays out more in space and more in the corners, where Randall spends a lot of his time in the slot area. So put your big guys in different positions on the floor. But again, it's personnel driven, and the playoffs end up being about personnel.
How strong does the locker room or culture have to be for a team to be able to come back after the star gets sort of sacked like that?
It's the NBA, and in the playoffs, the only thing that matters is winning. You don't have time for ego. You don't have time for any of the other things to be a distraction. Whoever's on the floor is on the floor, and you got to go and try to win the game.
Being down 3-1 in this kind of situation that you're in, what do you draw on?
Experience. A couple of us here were on the staff in Houston, and we were down to the Clippers 3-1. We lost the first 2 games at home by a combined almost 50 points. We went on the road to win Game 3, came home, or lost Game 4, and then went on to win 5, 6, and 7. I think for our guys, and I was fortunate enough to be with Kevin McHale, who had seen it all and been through it all, and he just impressed upon our guys that all you have to do is focus on one game. This is not in our mind and should not be, a 3-game thought process. All it is one basketball game, and we've proven that we can win one game. You take it game by game with the thought of all you have to do is the job that's in front of you. I think at that time our guys really bought into it and were able to come back and win it. And that's the message that we've spread to our guys here is this is just about tomorrow, and all it is one basketball game that we know we're capable of winning one basketball game.
Do you sense that the guys have bought into it the way that the Rockets did back
Yeah, I think they're with it.
How would you describe the vibe with you guys with those conversations?
We're in as good a spot as you can be. Our guys have never surrendered, and I don't ever expect them to surrender. So we're going to go out tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a hell of a game, and we're going to lay it all out on the line.
J.B., you referenced going into this series, you knew you needed to do 2 things. 1, hit the defensive glass, and 2, prevent the Knicks from scoring those second chance opportunities. And in the 3 losses, you've given up, I think, 17 offensive rebounds and at least 20 second chance points. Just how tough is that as a coach? You go into a series emphasizing a couple things, and you haven't been able to really kind of limit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a challenge. It's a challenge to all of us to figure out ways how we can help, how we can do better and how we can do more. These are also as frustrating, again, as I've said it is and can be. These are lessons that you learn about yourself as individuals, and you learn what playoff basketball is. You learn just how physical, how aggressive you need to be, and how physical and aggressive you can be. You learn how important all the small things are. Like a small box out can make a huge difference in wins and losses. During the regular season, you don't feel that same level of intensity through it, but every possession matters even more. So, again, it's growth. It's accepting challenges, and again, we have to be better at it in order to win. And I expect our guys to be better at it tomorrow.
You've had that junkyard mentality. You tried to instill that in your team here. It doesn't seem like that's shown up as much as maybe you needed to or you would like to in this series. I guess how do you get back to being who you guys are?
Yeah, and I would say that I believe it has more than it hasn't. Our defense has still been really solid and really strong. It's just one area where we have to improve. We've taken individual challenges. You've seen us guard, the ball and slow the ball down. We've been in great spots for rotation and help and protecting each other. So I think there's areas where, that mentality has still been the same. I just think it's that one area where, we have to be better on the glass.
knowing that you do have to be better on the glass, have you considered going to Lamar just because he has had that junkyard mentality for you guys the entire season?
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations about it, and everything's on the table. So tomorrow night, we'll throw out whoever we believe is going to help us.
And I did want to ask you, too, just about the way that they're guarding you in the high pick and roll. What are they doing to kind of get you guys to play in small spaces, and how do you feel like you guys can counteract that?
I mean, they're trying to send our ball handlers to their left hand, and it's different with their personnel. So what their 4s do is different than what their 5s do. But again, I think the emphasis for us is it can't be stagnant offense. You go back and take a look at it. When we do things early, good things happen for us. When the ball moves from one side to the other side, great things happen for us. So I think, we need to stay out of a lot of stagnant actions and be more free-flowing on that side of the floor.
Jared
We'll take 2 more questions.
Jared Allen was hard on himself after that game 4 on the rebound. So what have you said to him? What can he do to be more physical?
I mean, there's a level of energy that Jarrett plays with that is infectious to this team. And I think that's what it comes down to, is his activity, his willingness to do more, make multiple efforts. We talk about it all year long. Like, he leads in a different way, and he leads by example. And again, he and I had conversations, and he knows how important he is to us. And again, I expect him to come out tomorrow, with that type of mentality. And again, we'll leave it all out there and we'll follow his lead.
Do you see any signs at this point that the Knicks' exaggerated strategy on Isaac is in his head?
In Isaac's head?
Isaac's head.
No, I think Isaac has done a good job. He's driven closeouts. He's gotten to the basket. He's attacked their rim. So I think he's done, the job that he needs to do.